All right, guys, I'm just going to go through and explain how Kitelinks works, show you the best way to use it, and how it can be used to obviously remove that friction and that barrier to people finding your podcast. Today, we're going to use the Pod News Guys podcast as an example, and yeah, let's get into it. So first, we're just going to go and have a look. Obviously, they've got their links here. Spotify and Apple being two of the biggest players. And if you're sharing your Spotify, people aren't going to the Apple, that kind of scenario, which obviously can be frustrating for people. A big one here too is when you're sharing your Spotify link, sometimes people land on the web browser page. They're not logged in. I myself never log in on the web browser. I'm always using the app on the computer. So if they come here and they go, they want to play, they want to listen to it, or they want to get into it, it's not as native as it is on the app or how they normally do it. So they might get out of it. So the same goes for Apple. If you want to come over here, and you can obviously go to Apple and iTunes, which is a bit easier. But the problem there is still obviously which link is being shared, which one are they choosing, and on top of that, you're missing out on all the other platforms as well if they listen to it on another platform. So let's jump into Podkite. We'll log in and I'll show you how to set up a Kitelink, and we'll go from there. Okay, guys, so once you've logged into your Podkite account, this is going to be the dashboard that you come to. Now, adding a podcast is obviously in the top left-hand side here, so you can add your podcast in here if you haven't done so yet. And it's quite simple. Track new podcast, type in podcast, and that podcast comes up. Click it, and then you'll be able to, you have the option here to track the podcast. Now, like I said, we're going to go with the Pod News Guys today and show you how to create a Kitelink with their account. Now, on the top right-hand side is the marketing tab. That's where you're going to want to go to find your Kitelinks. So go over there, click on that, and it's going to bring you to the Kitelinks dashboard. I've made a few over here already. Now, to explain Kitelinks a little bit, the best use of Kitelinks is going to be for your static kind of URLs. So this is your website footers, your email footers, your Instagram bios, anything that stays the same all the time. And that way you set up your core Kitelinks and people are going to always flow through them. Now I've got the Facebook one here, but let's create another one. Let's say you're going to create them for your social accounts. Let's just go. So let's go LinkedIn bio, and then here we'll go. So you want to have something that identifies your podcast. So you've got the link here. You want to identify your podcast first, something that's consistent with your link, and then what it's for. We're going to go create. Now we've got the link here, and here we have the analytics that come with the link. Obviously, total amount of clicks, unique clicks. This is where it shows where the player it's been clicked on. And I'll go through this once we've done some clicks so you get an idea of it. But this is what it's going to look like when you first come into it. And these are the active players. Now let's go to one of the links and see how it kind of looks once you've clicked on it. So you're going to land on this page from the link, and your user is going to land on this page. And obviously it identifies your podcast at the top here. Then it's got all the players that you are on. We've also added your website if you have a website attached to your podcast, and this is just a good way to kind of get people back to your website, or they can link to your content so they can see your content. And it also has like a little SEO feature or benefit too, which is pretty handy. So now back up here, depending on which device you're on, it's going to depend which player shows here. You're going to be on Apple or iOS. It's going to have the Apple option first, and then all the other options that are possible on Apple. And then Android, same deal. Top one that's best for Android, and then the device, the apps that are on Android as well. I'm on desktop, so it's obviously showing all of them. And I'm just going to go through clicking on these and what that's going to show. So if you're on Spotify first, you click on Spotify, and it's going to come over to a quick little call to action here to show people where they can subscribe or follow, and then they're going to open on the player. It's going to open straight up in the player and be there ready for them to go, just like that. So obviously on device, it's going to go straight to the device if it's mobile. And same deal is going to be for Apple. So if you click on Apple, you're going to come to a quick little page that's going to give a little call to action. And then on that page, it's going to redirect to the actual podcast page where you're going to have the option to either click and listen in iTunes or listen here or take whichever action you want to from there. So from here, we're going to come back to the analytics here and we'll be able to see what's happened with that link and the link that's been clicked on. So if we refresh the page, it's going to show the link here for LinkedIn, and obviously I've clicked it a few times, so it's showing 3 total clicks on the actual link itself, and then it's got 1 unique, which obviously just me myself, and then it's showing which players have been clicked. So I clicked on Spotify and Apple, so it's showing there. I'm in Australia, so it's showing Australia. It shows what language the browser was in. And then, so if this was posted on LinkedIn somewhere, this would show that the referral was LinkedIn and then would have the clicks for that as well. So that's the layout of the Kitelinks himself. And like we said, really good for static pages, and you're going to build your core Kitelinks that people are going to be clicking on all the time and put them in the areas where people are going to be clicking. Next, we'll go over episode links, and I'll show you how to create an episode link and how they work as well. So when creating an episode link, it's the same position as a kite link. You're going to come up to the top left-hand side here, and all we're going to do different is just link to an episode. So kind of click that, and then it brings you to where you can create an episode link. Here, we're going to make, so say for a episode link, you're running an email campaign and you're sending out a weekly email with the podcast that you have released. So you're going to come in here and you might have campaign and then like which episode it is, and then email 5 or whatever it is that you kind of resonate with your email, how your campaign's set up. Here you want to obviously, like we've said, make something that's identified with your podcast, and then we could just have very similar episode 1 and then email 5. Whatever you feel like. There we go, I've already done that one. Let's go. There we go. So now that URL's free and you'll be able to use that one for the episode. Now, here you're going to have the option to choose which episode out of all the episodes that are on your podcast. You do have, if it's not showing, you have the refresh button to refresh it and bring that through. And here we're just going to choose a podcast that we can, an episode that we're going to link to. So here you're going to go create. And you're going to have obviously the internal label here, which is changeable. And now you're going to have the same deal with all the analytics, exactly the same as the kite link. It's just linking to an episode. So here we'll show, click on an episode. And same, you're going to come to the same page. It's all device dependent, so it's showing which device is on which. Now, if you click on any of these, it's going to be the exact same as before. It's going to redirect them to the page with the episode that it's on, and as it loads, it's going to bring up the option to play it, or you can click and go to the device that of your choosing. Now, if it's on an app, it's on a phone, you're actually going to go straight to the episode. This is just because it's on desktop, it shows up this way. But yeah, so it's exactly the same as Kitelinks, and people are going to, once they've clicked on it, you're gonna see the same analytics, where it was posted, where it's come from, all the same as the Kitelinks. It's just giving you the capacity to click on an episode. And we all know in this day and age that people very, very easily drop off any steps they're going through if they feel a little bit of friction. So being able to link directly to an episode is really beneficial, because you can kind of go straight from, say you've got an audiogram or a post on Facebook, and people can click the link directly in the post. It's going to take them directly to that episode without them having to search for it or look through all the different bits and pieces to get there. So you want to make it as easy as possible for your listeners. So jump in, guys, have a play around with all the different bits and pieces here. We've obviously got our support team, so if you need any help, just reach out and we'll be able to help out. Any questions, please fire through and we'll be able to get on top of it, guys. So, yeah, really appreciate you being on board and enjoy.